Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at 3 cars that are under the Derbymutt Industries concept button right here. So the 3 cars are the 1989 Aero concept, the 1992 Aero concept, and the 2025 Aero concept. Now each of these cars has an S, R, and X version. So it's like a sport version, a racing version, and the extreme version. We're going to start off with the oldest version in the slowest configuration, which is the 1989 Aero Concept S. Driving this car is absolutely insane, to put it simply. It feels like this car is exploiting the physics engine so hard to make a car that is ridiculously fast in a straight line, and it handles like it's on rails. Like, we can go around this corner over 100 miles per hour, no problem, if you got the guts to do it. This is a car that really requires a good driver to fully make use of it. And mind you, this is the slowest variation available, yet we're probably making our best time ever going around the racetrack at the moment. That is how fast the R and X versions of the car is. The sport one, the slowest one, is probably the fastest vehicle I've driven here. That's just absolutely crazy. Now, one thing I do want to point out about all of the vehicles is that they do not deform. So if we were to go and charge at a wall like this, that is going to be basically the outcome. The cars are simply not made to deform. They're made to drive at ridiculous speeds and apparently even upside down. That's kind of funny. So it looks like the body panels are actually going through the floor so the wheels can touch the ground so we could drive this thing upside down. Although I don't know if it it can't really handle, but you can kind of move it. That's just crazy. And if you wanted to, though, you can still use like the node grabbing stuff to move it around. It doesn't matter that it can't crash. You can still grab it by the nodes and move it around like that. But, oh, there we go. We did get it off the wall. I was afraid we wouldn't be able to get it off the wall. Now, you can actually destroy the suspension bits and immobilize the car, though. That one I just hit head on, so it didn't do that. But if we go like that, or like that, we can destroy all of the tires, basically. I think we got 1 tire left. Yeah, we could do a destruction of every tire, and then the car is undrivable. So it's not like it's an indestructible car. It just doesn't physically or visually deform the bodywork when you crash. Since there are so many variants, we got to go through them pretty fast. So the next one up is the 1992 Aero Concept S. And I'm going to be doing these like all of the sport models and all the race models and all of the extreme models, because it's easier to do like all the ones that are similar in terms of how they drive versus going like slow, medium, fast, slow, medium, fast, slow, medium, fast. If you do it like that, it just gets a little bit difficult to really get a feel for the vehicle and actually do driving competently. So anyways, this one actually is a totally different drivetrain than the other one. It sounds like a normal piston engine, but I think it's supposed to be like an EV vehicle because that's what it says in the description. And it doesn't really have like a normal gearbox. It just kind of has like 1 gear, it seems like, that goes on forever. And it just accelerates really differently. Like it starts off really slow, but it keeps pulling the same amount forever, it feels like, basically on a track like this. You don't have the chance to really reach its top speed in this configuration. And it does handle a little bit better, it feels like to me. Like, I almost think I'm imagining it, but it has to handle better because it just feels like it turns in a little bit more tighter than the one we were just driving. So it's easy to go around the corners, and it does give you some more skid marks as you do it. The other one didn't seem to like do that as much. It kind of just understeered a little bit more, where this one's more just a little oversteering. Not enough where it'll spin you out, but it feels like it turns in tighter. That's the only way to really explain it. You can kind of see it though. Like, I'm going through these corners, we skid a little bit, but it just keeps going through the corner like that. And it looks like I'm just cruising, right? But that's a lap, and that is a fast lap because we barely had to brake at all through those corners. Now, I honestly think the older model would have been faster than this one on this track, kind of interestingly. But this one is a lot easier to handle. This one, anybody could drive it. The other one, you gotta really be on it when you accelerate and when you brake and stuff and be paying attention. This one, you could just kind of relax with it, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and crash this too, so you can kind of see the suspension blow out, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we'll just kind of go like so. There we go. So you can see the suspension does deform, just not the body. The next one has a pretty big jump in years. This one went from 1989 to 1992. Now we're jumping all the way to 2025. And it doesn't look that dramatically different than the one we were just driving. It's a pretty similar kind of design where it has like the open wheel and stuff. And this one has supposedly like a hybrid engine system, but it does drive very similar to the one we were just driving in terms of like the way it accelerates. And the way it controls in terms of steering is pretty similar to the one we were just driving. I think it might turn in even more tighter by just a tiny bit, but it is hard to tell because it is very close. Like the 1989 definitely feels different than the 1992, but the 1992 to the 2025 are pretty similar, and the differences are much more minor. So with these two, it's almost like which one do you like the looks of better, really? At least to me, that's what it feels like. Once again, we're able to just fly through this track at great speeds around these corners without any issue. Actually, if you do that, if you get your wheel on the inside of the corner like that, that can get messy. I've done that a few times where I kind of just go into the corner a little too tight, my wheel gets caught up and I spin out. So you don't want to go on those. You want to just go right on the edge of them like that. That is a perfect corner. I probably could have gone faster, but going like that could be deadly. And that's just poor driving. Now we're flying a little bit. This car can get funny these cars can get funny, actually all of them, when they get into the air because they have so much downforce. Like it gets crazy, man. So anyways, there is a lap with that one. Now we can move on to the faster versions. And for the faster ones, I'm going to go ahead and just change up the track. So let's just try to wreck this thing up a bit. And for the next track, we're going to go to one where it's a little bit more forgiving if I fly off the road because I think I'll need that. We're going to go to the industrial site. So now we're going to move back to 1989 with the Aero Concept R. And this one is a Performance Class 2, where the S is Performance Class 3. Where in reality, the S is kind of like a Performance Class 1, and this one's like a Performance Class 0, and then the X is like a Performance Class -1. Like, this thing is crazy, crazy fast, and it has so much downforce, the camera kind of shakes at times. You can see when we're accelerating. That's just kind of a side effect from how unbelievably fast this thing is. Like, we could get right here to that next turn over 100 miles per hour easy. Watch this. Here we go. Boom. 120 miles per hour probably reached right there. It's kind of hard to track it because the speedometer changes so fast, and the wheels are pretty accurate with how fast the vehicle's actually going, so you can trust that speedometer most of the time. Going around corners, it can get a little bit inaccurate, but like this 140 I saw right there. It's like you accelerate it for a half second, then you slam on your brakes. That's how you drive this thing. You accelerate, then slam on the brakes for the corner, and that is the weirdest feeling ever for driving a car like this. Like, it is so unnatural because you're like a half mile away from the corner. It's like, I better start slowing down because I'm suddenly going 150 miles per hour. You know, not literally, but that's what it feels like. You are so far away from the corner when you start slowing down because this thing is moving so fast, so suddenly. It's just crazy. And this is the R. There's another level up, the X version, which is even faster. That's just bonkers. Like, how can you get it even faster than this? But it is. I can't control it really, but it is ridiculously fast. Like, this thing is so fast. If I put it to 8 times slow-mo, it'll still look pretty fast, I bet. Okay, maybe not 8 times slow-mo. How 4 times slow-mo? If I put this to 4 times slow-mo, it'll still look like it's actually moving in normal speed, probably, almost. Right here on the straightaway. Okay, not normal speed, but it doesn't look like 4 times slow-mo, like right here. Once it gets up to speed, like, boom. That's 150. And, oh, goodness, the slow-mo threw me off. Oh, we're flying into a tree. Once again, body does not deform, but the rest of the car can break. And I heard a couple of tires pop and it's flipped over, so let's just reset it and get a new car. So the next one is the R version of the 1992. This one, once again, has the EV drivetrain, and it's the same idea. It's a faster version of the 1992 one. Now, this one is not as fast as the R version of the 1989. That thing is just crazy acceleration. This one, though, it actually has real nice handling to it with good acceleration. So you don't need to just slam on the brakes when you get to a corner. You can actually go around them at a much more reasonable speed. So like right here, go around this thing, 40 miles per hour, no problem. The other one, I don't know if I could have done it that fast. But you can see we're not reaching the 140 mile per hour speeds as the other one. You can feel the difference as you're driving it. It doesn't feel nearly as fast, but it corners so much better. It is so much more pleasant to drive. And we can go ahead and do one more lap, and then we'll do the next one, which is the 2025 version, which once again, it performs very similar to the 1992 one in terms of handling, but it is a lot faster in a straight line. I gotta finish up this lap. See, this one though, you actually are driving like a racing line. Like you brake, you know, at the time you would normally expect. You accelerate out of the corners when you would expect. It feels more like an F1 car, where the other one feels like a drag car on steroids type of thing. So there we go, a complete lap, all nice and tidy, and then we're gonna fly off the course at the end. Probably could reach 100 miles per hour here. There we go. Ha! I love the way the car bounces, because it's like, I'm not deforming, I'm bouncing off of this wall. And then the tire gets stuck in a tree. The 2025 is basically a combination of the 1989 and the 1992. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's not as fast as the 1989 in a straight line, I don't think, but it has even better handling than the 1992. So if I was to choose one of these to drive, honestly, it'd probably be the 1992, because this one's starting to get so fast where it's a little bit crazy to drive it. Like, we could still hit 100 on the straights like that, no problem. But we're not hitting 140 like the 89 version. But this one at least doesn't have many issues going around corners, and you don't feel like you have to brake forever before you get to the corner. This one, you brake a reasonable distance away and you'll be all good to go. So we'll do, once again, 2 laps with this, just because the laps go so ridiculously fast when you're driving these things. You just do a lap before you know it. And then it's like, well, I gotta do another one because I haven't even told you what color the car is at this point in time yet. You know, it happens so fast. And I have no idea if those wheels are actually attached to the vehicle. It looks like they actually just kind of float. They do. They just kind of float there. I just noticed that. I have no idea why it took me that long to notice the wheels just kind of float there, but they do. I mean, it looks like they're attached, like from this angle, but then you'll notice, like, wait a minute. No, they're not. Certain angles. It's just, you'll see it. Like right here, no problem. But then sometimes, oh, wait a minute. Those aren't attached. Oh! Okay, we really destroyed that rear suspension, and it's starting to glitch out a bit. So for the X version of the vehicle, I'm just going to go to grid map, because I don't know if I can keep these on the road half the time. I just want to be able to drive them and show you how fast they are. So I think grid map's the best place for that. Once again, we'll start with the 1989 version. And this one you can get it in different colors, but purple kind of looks weird because the windows will always be purple. Green looks totally fine though, because you got the green car with the purple windows, and you also got green wheels on it. So to give you an idea of just how fast this thing is in a straight line, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive from one end of this grid map to the other. So we're just going to go right over to this corner right here. Reset it right before we hit the wall, but we actually ended up inside of it still. So just teleport it a little bit out the way, reset it again just in case that damaged it, and floor it. And it's like instantly we're at 200 miles per hour. It is just unbelievable how fast this thing accelerates. And the downforce on this thing gets a little crazy, because you can see like the wheels are going through the body, and the wheels aren't even flat with the ground. Like, there is so much downforce causing so much weight to be on these tires that they end up bending like that just because of the speed. Now with this much speed, we might actually be able to damage it a little bit. Yeah, so you can see there's a little bit of deformation there. It wasn't made to deform, like I said, but when you're hitting something at 200 miles per hour, you can get some deformation every now and then, as you can see right there. Now as for handling, this one handles a lot like the 1989s do, where they are kind of understeery and stuff, and they don't really like seem like they want to steer really with this one. Like it feels more like a drag car that you're trying to steer. That's what it reminds me of, to be honest. It's like right here, going our best to try to steer this thing. I mean, the steering is so disproportionately like worse than the acceleration. The acceleration is ludicrous. The steering is probably sports car levels, I guess. It's probably the easiest way to put it. Probably better than sports car levels. It's just the acceleration is so crazy, it makes the steering feel much, much worse than it is. So anyways, we'll go ahead and try to crash this one more time right into that. That looks like a perfect place to crash it. And once again, we have a little bit of deformation on it, but like I said, not made to do that. So the next one is the 1992 Concept X. There it is. Had to find it. And this one, again, is ridiculously fast. Gets us up to 200 miles per hour and a little bit more time than the 1989, though. And you can really see the tires bending here. Like, if we're steering and going at a high rate of speed, those tires, they look so warped. But that's just because of how much weight the downforce is putting on them at these speeds. It's like, it's literally bending the tires to bits. Also, for some reason, the back end likes to lift up when you steer really hard with the X versions like this. You can see like the back end wants to lift up, and we flipped it, which can also happen. One thing though is you can sometimes get the X ones to kind of upright themselves just because they are so powerful. Oh, but I blew out the wheel, which does happen. And oh my goodness, this camera is shaking so hard. We cannot do that. We just got to reset it. So this one, though, it's like, it's got the whole package. It's got the crazy acceleration, and then it has handling to go with it. Like, it will turn on a dime even at 180 miles per hour. Like, it is amazing how it handles, but it is so fast and twitchy to drive. It is just really hard to keep it on the road because you're going 180 miles per hour and trying to go around a corner that requires precision, and you hit to steer left or right a half second too late, you're already in the wall. It's like, you got to be a good driver to make use of this thing. So anyways, it's kind of the same story, though, for the 2025, but we'll go ahead and pull it up anyways. I think, no, 2025X. There it is. Almost picked the wrong one. So acceleration, even better than the one we were just driving, but not as significant as the difference between the two R versions. And once again, absolutely insane handling. Like, look at this thing as it just goes left and right. That is just crazy how hard it'll steer. I mean, I've never seen a car steer so hard it literally will flip itself over, even though it has an extremely low to the ground kind of profile to it, and it has all kinds of downforce to try to keep it on the ground. It'll still flip over. Like, that thing is churning so hard. I would assume it's like probably multiple G's when we try to steer this thing at its max abilities. We could actually try to check it. We could put the G meter on and just do this and see what happens. I'm assuming maybe 4 G's. I don't know. It's a lot, though. Let's see. Apps. And G-force meter. We'll just set it down there in the corner. So let's see. Acceleration. Almost 2 G, over 2 G's of acceleration. And then we're going to steer to the right. 7 G's. 7 G's. Like, you'd end up vomiting if you drove this thing more than like a minute, probably. This thing is just, look at that, 8 G's. The G-force meter is just all over the place with this thing. I see 8 G's every now and then, though. That is ridiculous. Like, I think F1 cars max out at maybe half of that. Maybe a little bit, like, at their most, I think they'll do half of that. I think they'll maybe do 5.5 G's. So this thing has just ridiculous handling abilities. And one thing that's kind of funny is it has so much downforce that when you let off the accelerator, it looks like you're braking. Like, I'm not braking there, but we decelerate really fast because of how much downforce this thing is generating. You gotta stay on the power to keep moving. And I bet you could go around a track without even braking if you wanted to. And you could also blow up your tires if you're in the air, so don't do that. Also, what I mentioned earlier about when you get in the air, things can get crazy. I can show you what that does right now when we're going 200 miles per hour when we hit the jump. Go all the way over here. We gotta get some precision driving skills. So it looks like it just, like, it doesn't look like it's going the speeds it does, is the easiest way to say it. That was a 200 mile per hour flight, but it doesn't look like 200 miles per hour, and the distance it flew is a lot less than most cars would if you're going that speed. And the reason for that is just because of the downforce it's making. It makes everything look a little wacky and stuff. And somehow I'm driving with 3 wheels. Hey, I fixed it! I crashed it, I fixed the car. If only it was that easy to fix a car in real life. I would be like, I would totally do that as my job. I fix cars by crashing them again until they work better. That would be an awesome job. I think I just saw 9 G's right there. Like, I think I just saw 9. I don't know. There's just unbelievable amounts of steering ability here. I wonder what the 1989 does, because that thing goes faster, but I don't think it'll steer as hard. So we'll get this thing up to its top speed in like half second. 2.5 G's in acceleration. I think that's less than a dragster would do still. Oh, shoot. I didn't hit the X version, did I? It's accelerating too slowly. Like, I could tell something was off there. There's the acceleration! So, steering to the left. Okay, it can pull a constant 5 G's. Like, just about. So that's probably F1 car handling right there. Like, I would say that would be comparable, like, to the amount of G's an F1 car could pull. And it feels like it handles terribly compared to the other one, because the other one handles so ridiculously good. That's the hilarious part. The other one handles so good that even though this thing handles amazingly, it feels like it handles like below average. I guess we could go ahead and try this at leap of death just to see what happens, but I fear a disappointment here. For this, we'll just use the 1989 because I think it is the most likely to deform, and it's also the fastest. Like, we could get to 200 miles per hour before we even hit the jump. This might be interesting. Oh! So we're going fast. Whoa! It looked like it's flying. Like, it looked like it just started to fly for a second. Then it just flipped over and it loses all of its forward momentum. So fast because of, like, the downforce, I have to assume. Like, if we were flying, or if we'd hit that jump at 150 miles per hour with a normal car, I'm pretty sure it would have went straight to the water. But this one, it just kind of sinks through the air. Although it seems like it's going kind of slow, actually falling. I don't know. Like, doesn't it seem like it's falling really slow? It is. Like, it is falling so slowly. Like, it's just like, it's an airplane. It thinks it's an airplane. It just falls so gently. It's falling for like 30 seconds. It just kind of taps the ground. What is that nonsense? All right, let's see if the other ones do that too then. So we'll do the 2025. Where's X? Like, the organization here is kind of a mess. Like, you go 1989 R, 1992 R, 1989 X, 2025 R. Like, it's just, it doesn't seem like there's any sort of actual organization there. That is one truthful complaint I have. Otherwise, there's not much to complain about. Like, it is a crazy car, but that's what it's designed to be. That one just sinks. Like, that one sinks. We hit the jump at 150 miles per hour, and we're going to hit the wall sooner than pretty much every other car does. And once again, it's doing like it looks like it wants to fly, and it just kind of touches the ground ever so gently. That is so weird. Like, this car is breaking the physics engine, and I love it because of that. Like, what is that nonsense? How does that work? I don't know, but it does it somehow. All right, then just for the heck of it, brutal slope it. I honestly don't know if this will be worth it, though, because, like, the car is already so fast, it might not even care that it's going down the hill. Like, it might top out at pretty much the same speed anyways, and it'll look just like the crash we did at Grid Map just a minute ago. But we'll give it a shot just to see what happens, and if it is the same, we'll just call it quits. But because I do this every video, we gotta at least check out and see what happens. So here we go. We're accelerating it up, and yeah, it just has so much downforce. It's not even going to go that much faster, really. Like, it's basically topped out at the moment, 230, and it's not going to go any faster than that, which isn't much different than the speed it hits when you are just driving it along. So we could just kind of try to convertibilize it, but it's so short, it doesn't do anything at all. Wow. Okay, one more thing we could try, actually, that might be kind of fun, is if we hit something, we can see how many G's that actually is. Because 200 miles per hour coming to a stop like that, well, actually, it's not even coming to a stop like the other ones. You normally have like a crumple zone, which will probably help reduce the G's a little bit. This one doesn't have any sort of crumple. So it'll just bounce right off of it. And I expect a huge reading on the G meter right here on this, which might be kind of fun to watch. It's going to be the same number you would have saw when we did that crash at Grid Map, though. So I don't know if there'll be anything that's like special. It's not going to be anything special to brutal slope or anything. It's just trying it out under here instead. So boom. It's funny, you see a lot of deformation in the impact, and we got 48 G's right there, which actually is a little bit lower than I would have expected. To be honest, that was a little bit lower than I expected. So once again, just a tiny bit of deformation. You see the car will still want to drive though, and it almost does actually. And I should point out that this car does have an interior camera, but I don't think the other ones did. Because I just thought about that right now. The other ones don't have interior cameras, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is the only camera for that one, and I'm pretty sure it's the same kind of thing for the 2025. But the 1989 has an interior camera. You could try to look at the inside, but you see there's not even an interior, so yeah, there isn't an interior camera because of that. Anyways, I think that will do it for the Aero concept cars, is what I'm going to call them, which also want to fly. So till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.